Rise and shine, roommates. It's your girl, Asacia Turner, and I'm here with rock and roll young Freddy Rainville. How are you?
Good. What's going on? Thanks for having me.
Of course. You're very nice and you're very sweet. So tell me, like, the difference between, like, your music and your personality.
Hey, well, thank you so much. I think, music goes like layers deep. Just to put it out on the table for people who don't know me. I'm in the project Rainville, which is like where I do a bunch of solo music, and me and my girlfriend Bella Ibarra and two of our friends. Yeah, that's where we do like our thing, which is a combination of just like, a sort of really anything that we want to bring to the table. I mean, it's a lot of like a lot of solo acoustic music, a lot of layered acoustic music, and like a lot of like high energy rock and roll. And then on the other hand, I'm in the band America Part 2 with my two best friends, Alex Fabio and Sam Weingarten. And we kind of push a lot of musical boundaries, or at least we try and just
Such as?
take so much influence from, 60s psychedelic rock and roll, just all high energy punk. Our roots were like punk growing up. So we started like doing DIY touring like really young. So we kind of like hold on to like all those influences. Yeah.
You explained that these are your influences for both of you, for all three of you guys growing up young. So these your childhood friends? You guys grew up together?
Yeah, well, me and Alex grew up down the street from each other in Oceanport. And, at that time, I had a lot of classic rock in my house. There was always music in my house. I remember probably around that time, like 12 or 13, I found like Rage Against the Machine because my dad just had an enormous CD collection that I could just play on the stereo whenever. And I met Alex. He's a year older than me. And I met him through one of my best friends, Joey. He was like talking about his band I remember sixth grade, talking about his band in class. And I was like, oh, do you guys have a bassist? Like, I play bass. And he was like, no, we don't have a bassist. And like, we don't even like need a bassist really. And I just thought that was like so weird and funny. And then Joey came back the next day and was like, Alex wants you to try out actually. And then since then, me and Alex have been playing ever since. And they kind of got me into what was like the poppin' like rock and punk at the time, which was like, honestly, it was mainly like All Time Low and Mayday Parade, and like almost like more like pop punk and the pop rock type of like late 2000s, like 2008, 2009. I started getting into like Warped Tour stuff. So then Warped Tour came to Oceanport every single year from like, I think 2008 or 9 to like 11. And so that was right at the racetrack. And so we would just walk there. And my dad,
In Oceanport?
Yeah, in Oceanport. Yeah, and that was before, because now they do it at PNC, or they did do it before it ended, because the last year was like a year or two ago.
Okay.
But yeah, it took a ton of influence from all those bands. So like OG bands, and like it was a lot of punk, and my cousins had a lot of influence over me, like a lot of like screamo and like New York, like hip hop, like Biggie and
really, that's nice.
And Tribe.
Wow.
And,
so
Nas.
explain to me and even the listeners, how does R&B and rap, as you say, like inspire you in rock and roll music? Because to me, that's exciting to hear, because for a while I've been saying like music really doesn't have a genre anymore. It all mixes together.
Yeah.
So yeah, explain to me that inspiration. That's really intriguing, honestly.
So I'm honestly like, I'm always trying to push like anti-genre. Like, you should literally just play what you want to hear and like make the music you want to make. And I think if you're proud of what you're making, like that's like the most important thing, because you just have to like and enjoy it and let it be genuine, like towards yourself. First off, like I'm a huge fan of like the blues. So like blues, roots rock and stuff like that, like Robert Johnson from like the 30s and Lead Belly, and then even going to folk and protest music like through like folk. I think it just had like that originally brought so much raw energy and just so much like angry emotion, and not just anger and emotion, but a lot of emotion. And then me being a bassist, like getting to like high school and then really getting into like 90s alternative and like 90s music, like I think like, rhythm and bass, and like, my band at high school was me and my cousin Matt, who are like a week apart, and our moms are twins, and like he was on drums.
Fun.
He was on drums and I was on
Fun.
bass, so we were literally just shredding. So I mean, the influence from like to go back to the original question, like through like hip hop and rap, I mean, it's honestly like Biggie is number one for me. Like those tracks like that Diddy made on the first record and stuff, like the bass and like, yeah, it's a lot of sampled work too, but I think for us, America Part 2 and Rainville, it's more about like the live energy that we can portray. Cause I know, AP2, America Part 2, we track live in the studio, and then we'll overdub vocals and maybe some guitars and pianos and like whatever we want to do to really enhance the song. But basically what you're hearing is mainly like the three of us in the room all together, like no metronome, live track. So
first try.
Whichever take we liked. We kind of had like, we take inspiration like through like all the different recording sessions we've done over the years. And I know one recording session we did with Pete Andrews, he's like almost like, he's like a guru to us. Like we look up to him so much. He has like an in-home studio where he just kills it and does his thing. And I just remember one of the things was like, he said something about like, if you don't get in like 7 or 8 takes when you're tracking a song, like then you probably like either should just like keep one of the takes or just move on, because at that point you're like, when you're wearing yourself down. And I just want to get to this next part, because America Part 2 we tracked live, and then we ended up overdubbing a bunch of stuff for our record that we just did. That was with we did that at Barbershop Studios. We had Rob Sharapa as like the main mixer engineer. He recorded and did mastering on it, and then Pete Andrews did mixing and work on it, and so did Gary Cioni. Just wanted to like drop everybody on that because we're about to drop our record in March, and that was great because that was a combination of everything that we've done and also doing things that we've never done. Like the way that we mastered that record, we had done it back through the board that they had at Barbershop, and we had to go in through like a tape machine, and Rob did a specific process which he's never done before, but that was an amazing vibe that took a year. Like we were in and out of the studio for like a year.
Wow.
And that honestly, like that kind of drained you, but everything came
at. Say, how did time treat you? Did it go by fast?
It felt like it went by forever, but we were dropping singles at the same time. Like we were kind of just like dropping songs like throughout like the year or two, and it honestly, like I wouldn't ever want to go through it like that again, but we like had to, because we're so proud of this record and it's going to come out. And like we dropped a song or two off of it, and that's going to get dripping. Everything's going to be dripping out in the new year. But for Rainville, for the Karma record that I just like recorded, that was self-produced in my bedroom, and I recorded the majority of those tracks in like a couple days, and then I just kind of like would layer stuff, and then Bella came in and did a bunch of vocals because that was our first record doing stuff together. So I laid down bass and drums and guitars, and I did all the instrumentations and stuff, except my friend Alex came in and riffed a guitar solo on the record, which is awesome. But yeah, it's really come like a full way, and honestly it's been like a really kind of nice break not being able to tour, because we were like full swing touring with America Part 2, and like we were kind of slowly getting into Rainville stuff, but it's been able to like everyone's kind of home and everyone's kind of like with together. Together with
and
the
comfortable.
crew. Yeah. Working together. Yeah.
When I first met you, I was expecting to interview you and your girlfriend.
Yes.
And unfortunately she couldn't make it, but I didn't want to leave her out because everybody has like that, that perfect little love story, like love and basketball, and everything.
Sure.
You guys are love and rock and roll. So tell me how that started, and what got her into music with you, or vice versa.
Well, I'll just put it right out there. Like, we just have like the funniest like things in common. Like, I don't think I knew anyone that really like likes the Cramps, like the band The Cramps. And that's like my favorite band. It's like her favorite band. And that's just like one, like right off the bat, like there's little things like that. It's like, and it's like, and it's cool because we're also like super, super different. I mean, I was working at a coffee shop, and she would come in every morning, and that's where I like met Murphy, our friend Murphy, our dear friend Murphy, everyone's friend.
You're right.
Yeah, we met there, and we actually put it together that we had met at a show early on, like a year before then. but we would all talk about art and stuff, and Bella's an artist, and she was in a
Nice.
short film. Me and Bella just like kind of befriended each other, and I had asked her to be kind of the star in the star, quote unquote star, in our music video for America Part Two. And yeah, first time we hung out, we ended up like realizing that we lived literally a block away. And we like
Wow.
didn't know. So it was just like kind of weird cosmic stuff, and we don't really like
Right.
question.
It's like it came all together. Like,
Yeah.
you know.
And like honestly, like it's so funny, like dynamics with bands and stuff, like Rainville, like it's just like so funny. Like I'll just bring whatever to the table and everyone's just like jamming and stuff. And like, you know, like Bella's like so fun to jam with. And I felt like in any other world, in any other dimension, like that doesn't make sense for me because I take
Yeah.
music like so seriously.
Mhm. What role does she play now in the band? Is she?
Oh, she's the bassist and she sings too. And so what we just kind of did was we were working on a bunch of songs, and it was songs that I had basically written and brought to the band. There was a song or two that had been written in the process of the record, but like we had never really recorded together. And you know, I had been trying to put out a solo record for a long time. Like I had recorded demos with my friend Steve, and I had put out 2 of those songs, and I had recorded my friend Rob, and I had put out one of those songs. And this was all before I even started thinking like Rainville was even going to be a band that we jammed and stuff. I mean, like, you know, like Bella's completely like a part of like, she's a songwriter. She's part of the writing process and stuff, especially like.
So she was like a songwriter before she met you. So was she her own independent artist?
Yeah, she goes to school at SVA in the city. She goes to school for painting.
Nice.
Yeah,
what?
and yeah, she's super awesome. She's like unbelievably multifaceted, and yeah, and also another connection, cosmic connection. Like growing up, like I didn't know any bassists, like like someone that like literally was like, oh, I'm gonna play bass, and that was their first instrument. Like other than like me, my uncle, and like one other friend growing up, and like Bella's that too. Like she literally like yeah, she grew up in San Diego, and they moved here. But yeah, so it's kind of funny. Like she started as a bassist too, and she plays guitar, and she's great. She's lovely. I wish she was here, but
right.
yeah,
I do too.
Next time. Yeah,
she definitely sounds like an interesting conversation, especially a motivator, honestly. And continuously say like, I enjoy learning new things, new culture, new life, new journey. True. So I never got to interview or even speak to somebody that's in like the rock and roll culture, if I'm defining you right. Sure. So let me know and allow us to understand what is the significance and the symbols behind your culture, such as like the long hair and like the nail painting and things like that, because Murphy paints his nails and I love the colors he put on. I love it, but I don't understand it. What does it mean to you?
Sure. Yeah. I think it's like any other type of art form of like expressing yourself, like the nails and stuff. Like even if I didn't like solely play rock and roll, I probably would still be painting my nails or whatever. And also like I think I shaved my head once in high school, and other than that, I haven't cut my hair since like 4th grade. I mean, like you get trimmed stuff. My hair's been long forever. So for me, it's been almost like very like folk family type thing, because like I had a lot of cousins growing up, so we all played instruments, and we were all running around the house and running around my uncle's house and just blasting whatever. And we're like, what band is that? And who artist is that? And it was never just rock and roll, but I think now like rock and roll truly, like if we're gonna like get deep in it, like what rock and roll was in the 50s was like grimy, sketchy, scary people, outlaw people stepping out of like their comfort zone and like freaking people out, and like kind of like embracing like the beatnik movement, and then that kind of in turn like moved to the psychedelic movement in like the late 60s. I mean, I just watched the whole documentary on like Bob Dylan and stuff, so it's like it's crazy.
Like you're educated up right now.
Yeah, I just try to like I love learning whatever too, but it you know, rock and roll it all kind of gets blurred too, because I just look at it as like everything, like the whole history of music, but rock and roll specifically, like I mean, I'll go back to it, and this is, I think, the best representation. Like the Cramps, like their outlook on rock, and how it was a style of rockabilly. They actually coined the term psychobilly because they wanted to represent a lost era of like playing, and how like they were straight up outcast aliens doing this weird thing. And I think it's like this weird like true like punk tradition of like, I don't know, being like unapologetic, but like also like, I don't know, people don't think of rock and roll like with like empathy. People think of like, oh, drugs and like Motley Crue and stuff like that. Like I mean, we definitely like would love to like resemble like punk and like true roots rock and roll, because like it's just music for the people around us, music for us, music for our friends. We never kind of had, I mean, we always had the intention of doing this forever, but never really sustaining ourselves through this. So we've always done other things too.
Right.
So I think the embodiment of rock and roll is just keeping it real and authentic and like pissed off too. Because not a lot of people scream or like almost like break their equipment. And like, it's not about that. It's about the literal, like you can change someone in the crowd just through like electrical instruments. And I think that's with any type of music. Right. Like, and that's sick.
Now you said that you feel like people don't look at rock and roll with empathy. So do you believe that it doesn't matter on the lyrics or the beat, music still moves or fills an emotional void?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, I think I literally like some days I'll like go and I'll like, I mean, because we always have like down days and stuff. And I remember like even specifically like a week or two ago, I was kind of having like a rough day, and it was like later on in the day, and I just like got in my car and put on music, and I was like, oh my God, I literally feel so much better.
Yeah.
Like,
like yeah, we can all account for that.
There was no question, but you like forget sometimes. But hey.
So we're just going to jump right into your EP Karma.
Sure.
That was one I really looked into because I don't know why, but my favorite word is karma. Oh, yeah. I just believe it. So tell me the works in that.
Sure. Well, so I have a song that I had recorded a while back, and this was like 2017. And, you know, I think the EP Karma was great because it really did come full circle. It's like, you know, 6 songs of like old and new. Just like my favorite stuff that I've been working on right now that I just kind of like just completely recorded like one song after another in like a couple days straight. And the song on the record, Karma, the lyrics are just what you put out will come around to serve you well. And so
that's a true statement though.
Thanks.
No,
I mean, yeah, it is. I mean, I didn't even like, I didn't make it up. But, you know, when I was, you know, I think like when you're writing songs, like, and I think people that like do write songs like alone, like will grab their acoustic and kind of like let their, just like let stuff flow. Even just like people that just let it out. That was kind of one of those songs, like kind of just like the melody came first and the lyrics came after. And it was just like, there's nothing more you have to say. And so I kind of thought of this release as, you know, I want to put out like these songs that I've created, and I think they're all different in their own way. But I think the recording process kind of grouped them up together and was like, okay, this is this one release. And I just wanted to make it simple and just name it after the song. And I think it just makes sense. I think, you know, there's good and bad karma that goes around too. So like if every day you kind of like wake up and you're putting out like, oh, I got stuck in traffic, and, you know, like this sandwich like was super expensive and it's like such a small sandwich, like you're putting out like you're putting out that karma, and then it's almost like, you know, that cycle of putting out the bad karma, like, you know, like that almost could become like the norm too. And I see it on like, you know, people and like, or friends and family, and like, you know, you never want someone to go through like that. But yeah, I think it goes around always. I always just try and talk to the people that see us, you know, and we just try and make a connection with the people that see us, just because like you came out to see our show in Iowa, in a barn in Iowa, in a cornfield. Like, thank you.
That's dedication.
Like, that's literally so cool. Yeah. And those kids, like, at that time had never heard of us too. And that was like a home show. Like, it was like kids losing it while we were playing. And when, in between songs, it was like silence. Like, and we didn't like have anything to say because we're just like, we're up there and we're like, thanks for coming out. Like, you guys are awesome.
We all understand and we all know every artist has inspiration in their music. So when it comes to your EP Karma, tell me a song or one of your best songs that you can give us an example or elaboration to the real life story behind it, if that makes sense.
Sure. I'll just start with the first track because I think that track is an anomaly. It's called Let Light Lead the Way. And one, I was writing that song as I was recording it. So it was literally coming to me as I was like in my room recording it. And I had never done that sort of process before. So that it was really amazing how that came out. And I really love the sound of that. But I grew up in like a really religious household. My whole mom's side of the family is like super like Roman Catholic. It's even like a really big thing. Like my family were like, we're going to go to Christian churches and like you're going to heck, you know? And it's like, no, like, I don't even know what's going on. You're like 10 years old. But there's always been like kind of like a religious taboo going on in my family. And like me and my cousins grew up on metal, Black Sabbath, like the whole imagery of like taking like the darkness of like the blues, but using it for positivity. Okay. Like Black Sabbath always wore dark clothes and stuff. But if you watch them live, like it was in their promos, it'd be like dark clothes and whatnot. But if you saw like live videos, they were in like neon clothes and like these crazy garbs, and they were like literally peace and love, and they would have the cross up there, like, and then you're like, oh my gosh, these guys are literally serious, and they're like just straight up promoting positivity, and like the whole time, like, you know, the image that like the media put out of them, and also like, you know, the major labels and stuff, you know, people like, I think for that sort of rock, for blues rock, start to put out like a dark negative connotation. But Let Light Lead the Way is like a darker song. I think like as, you know, like instrumentally, it's like, it's drop tuned a little bit. It's in an open tuning. Then Dad Gad, D-A-D-G-A-D. But the lyrical content, and it just came out of me. It's not like anything that I like wrote down or anything. It's like, it just talks about like letting light lead the way, and, you know, only time holds the truth, and just kind of like letting like the light within yourself kind of lead the way.
I believe art such as music and painting and drawing speaks words of volumes. I'm just like that. So explain to me, what is the meaning behind your artwork of Rainville and the artwork behind your new project that just came out?
True. So, so for the EP Karma that Rainville just did, I actually put that artwork together too, myself. It honestly, like, I feel like the EP Karma was a huge exploration for myself and just for that project, because I had only put out 2 songs. And my goal was always to like record and put out a record, but it just like didn't happen those ways. Like those sessions I did, only like a song or 2 came out of them, just because like I just knew like what I wanted to do in a way.
The inspiration of the artwork.
Yeah, the artwork. Well, I found these old Time magazines. Like this, I used to live in a townhouse complex. Where my dad used to live in Oceanport, and these people were moving out, and they were like kind of having like a garage sale type of, like, you could walk through the house and buy whatever, and they had these.
I never heard of a garage sale like that.
It's super random.
It sounds lit, honestly.
It's kind of like an old person type community.
Okay.
But these people had old Time magazines. When there was 2 when JFK was like literally had just died, and then there was one from 1941. And so I was going through it, and me and Bella were talking about like, because she had so much on her plate recently, like, and we just like kind of like these projects came up like really fast, and, you know, like you kind of tell yourself like, oh, I want to put it out like before Halloween, or like for this project we put it out on the 1st, and we were like, who should we work with? Like, I don't know, like we have a ton of friends that are artists and stuff, and I ended up just like going through these Time magazines, and I cut out the scenes out of it, and one was a field. It's like all black and white. It's like a field getting bombed, and it's like it's from another, like, I think that was from the 1941 magazine, and then the 1963 magazine. I got like this guy on a phone and like a watch and his hand, and it's like looks like he's drawing in the scene that's happening on the field, and that's the artwork. For
you did
Rainville.
a great job doing that, because if you didn't
you.
explain that, I would never know that these are different pieces put into one.
Yeah,
that's great.
yeah.
And that's why I wanted to know the message, because I feel like a picture can have 1,000 meanings, and
100%.
I just needed to know the meaning, but you have like 3 different levels on there, and it's great. I enjoy that artwork. I don't know, that's lit. I like it. The color is nice too. So once again, thank you for coming by. You definitely have to bring your girlfriend next time. She's definitely somebody we have to interview and get to know her a little bit more.
Thanks for having me.
Of course. Until next time, roommates, it's your girl, Astacia Turner.